Hassel here, co-host of the Nerdy Man Room Show. And we proudly present to you Man Room Shorts. Your discretion is advised.
Well, I think so. Let's dive into that some because the proton pack got back at over 300% of the goal.
Stickers.
Sky Striker went to 167%. Now they didn't reach their last tier, but they unlocked all the rest of them. And Rancor failed. So what made the Rancor fail? And we've been touching on some of the tiers, right? We didn't think the tiers were acceptable.
No.
And you kind of have to somewhat believe that because as soon as they showed the tier 3 and 4, as soon as they showed Salacious Crumb, Luke Skywalker, people are like, no, and they backed out the money. They actually lost sales the day that they premiered that stuff.
Well, you had to have a Luke with that, without doubt. But I think that it's a basic Luke figure we have a dozen of. The only difference is this was the first without the pins. Was that correct?
Yeah, it's a new mold, so
it's a new mold system.
How different
of what we're going to have a dozen of later? Because let's face it, everything moving forward is going to be pinless.
Yeah, that's their goal now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like you're not at some point going to have a Return of the Jedi Luke pinless.
Yeah, and I think that here's one. No matter what, I think that they did not listen to the fans on this one, and that's one of the biggest reasons they failed. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me say this up front first. You cannot always go by what the fans ask for when you make this stuff, right? We asked for some stuff that just engineering wise or money wise is never going to work. I would love to have.
We want a cat's lair this tall from my floor up, this big for $200. I mean, let's be honest. This is the kind of realm of shit we want. God no. Unless they build it out of cardboard, we get the diorama. But this is what fans want. They want more for a product for their money than is feasible.
And and that's when you get into that. Yeah, you can't listen to fans. But when the fans are saying, "Hey, just give us something that we want, and we'll still pay you the money," we'll pay you the extra money. I wanted a Quasar. I can't find him in the States. I paid a little bit more for him in Canada. Now, by the time I got clearance, it became the same price, but he would have been like $5 more up there versus here, just because of the price difference.
I honestly believe they would have been successful. The figure selection that they had, I mean, pretty much all those have to go with it, with the exception of the little creature beside Jabba.
Salacious.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his name for nothing, but I mean, with the exception of him, he could have went or not went. I think if they hadn't insulted the fans enough with the cardboard backing and the bones, like they made a big deal out of these bones.
Yeah, and I didn't get it.
If they'd give Ula or whatever, and as opposed to the bones and the cardboard, I think that would have tipped the scales enough. And you probably wouldn't even have had to do the retro packaging, honestly, with the other figures. I mean, they wouldn't have felt as insulted. You just got, okay, we got these 4 figures here. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Versus a sack of bones that, let's face it, any of us could go to Hobby Lobby around Halloween time. And and I'm not somebody that's going to build dioramas. I'm not. I see them online. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. I know people have a ton of time and skill to do these things. But your average person can go to Hobby Lobby around Halloween, pick up a little sack of bones for 97 cents, and just throw them in front of the Rancor and had the same damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't. One of the reasons I think they failed is because they didn't listen to the fans, right? They just said, "Hey, you'll buy whatever for it," and they tested us, and we said, "No, not this time." But I think something else.
I think they knew that Star Wars fans were just ravenous enough to take. Well, they thought they would just hold their ankles and say, "Yes, sir, give me another."
Yeah,
and they did.
Well, and I think one of the other big reasons for me that I believe it failed is because we ran 3 labs at the same time. So all of us who are into that stuff, for the most part, are that you got a few that are a fan of just one or the other thing. Like there's certain people that are just Star Wars fans; they don't do anything else, right? But most of us are fans of 80s properties. Well, Return of the Jedi was what, 82, 83?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters was 84. G.I. Joe was 80, 83, 84, 85. Why did you give us three of those things knowing that we only got so much money and so much shelf space at the same time? Even if it wasn't shelf space, I couldn't afford all three of those at one time.
How would
Which
you
one was I
feel
going
as
to
a
go
Star
in for?
Wars team knowing that not only Ghostbusters, but even G.I. Joe pulled a sticker package as a tier and beat you?
Yeah, well, not only that,
Ghostbusters pulled two different sticker packages, but even the Joes, all they pulled was a Cobra emblem sticker package and two Cobra figures to go along with
yeah,
your retro figures and because I kept saying an ultra rare Cobra Commander. He looks 100% 84 vintage Cobra Commander. I see nothing different.
that's all it was.
I see nothing different to make him ultra rare, other than the fact now they may have pulled the straight arms, because the original 82, 83s, which is what makes there's a version of Snake Eyes out there that's like ridiculously priced.
Yeah.
He doesn't swivel this way. He only does up and down. I think that Cobra Commander may do that to set him apart, but you know what I mean.
But even with that, if you're looking at it and you're like, all right, we got all three of these things. First thing you're gonna say is, which one can I? How many can I afford? Then you gotta say, which one can I afford? If it's only one or if it's two, which ones can I afford, right?
Well,
And then you gotta look and say,
it's
okay, which ones do I have space for?
it is a
And
holiday season. Most of us have families.
yeah,
These are adult collectors that buy these things. Let's be honest. You're
you're not
very
buying this for a
rarely
kid.
is your average 20-year-old buying this shit.
Yeah.
No one under 20 is buying them. I wouldn't think. I would be surprised. And if we have any under 20-year-old listeners, God bless you. I'm happy. You were brought up right by your parents. But I would venture to say most of the people buying these things are our age. Are in the realm of that. You got families to buy Christmas for. You can't buy three haslabs.
No.
Support your wife, your husband, your kids, Christmas or friends and family and whatnot. It's not feasible.
No, and then when you're looking at it for the price,
But
I
dude, I
think,
want to go to work for you because you're making too much damn money.
yeah. Well, I think one of the other things that comes up with this stuff too that I think is a fail sometimes for it is when you're talking about you trying to buy the best one for the price and you're trying to say, okay, which one can I afford? Which one am I going to go with? So the first thing you're looking at is which one is my favorite? If Ghostbusters is your favorite property, you're going to go for the proton pack. But if they're all kind of equal in your mind, then you got to look at them and say, okay, which one am I getting the best value for my money? You got to look at the scale of them. I didn't think that the Sky Striker, as much as I thought it was great and had all these features and stuff, for the scale of it to be the vintage scale, the 3.75-inch figures and the O-ring figures, I didn't think it was worth the price they were asking for it.
Well, honestly, most people are never going to take that Sky Striker out of the box because it's coming in your OG,
Yeah,
GI Joe box. So it's going to stay in there, and the box will be displayed. So you've got a $400 piece of cardboard that's going to be displayed basically because regardless of the content within the cardboard, you never open it up. The Proton Pack, I feel like it is one that you will be able to open, display, it look beautiful within your collection. If you have a grand man room like what you have and I have here, you can display that within your man room, and it'll be a great diorama set that's just like, holy shit, that's movie quality. It's great. I feel like it's one that I think you could probably rebox and not be a problem.
well, not only that, but it's a one-to-one scale. It's the size the pack should be, so you can put it
Yeah.
on display. If you wanted to do cosplay with it, you could. If you'd have gave me the GI Joe Sky Striker and the classified series scale, the 6-inch figures, even if it went back up to about the $300 to $400 range, I might have went in for it then because I'm saying this fits the current set of stuff I'm buying. This doesn't fit
Yeah.
old stuff that I'm not going to take out and I'm not going to do
Well,
anything
if
with.
you didn't want to do a vehicle that big in a classified, I get it because that's a lot of plastic. But you know what? I would probably buy like a Locust, the Tiger Force boat.
Yeah,
Something that a 1 to 2 figures could fit in. You don't have to have nothing grand. I mean, I would buy. It doesn't have to be a damn jet this big because let's face it, for it to be classified size, it would have to be that big.
It's gonna have to be like that, right?
So, I mean, if you wanted to pick a vehicle that could be in the realm of this right here, around the Thunder Tank, for maybe 500 bones. I mean, if you do it right, I would buy
It's
something like that.
more conceivable to me.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's in line with the current line of things. Nobody's collecting 3 3/4 anymore unless you're a vintage collector. And even then, are you wanting to drop $400 into something that's not vintage? Because as nice as this is, I mean, believe me, I was a fan when I seen the ejectable seats with the little fire under them. I was like, "Holy shit, that looks really cool!" But you had to pull it out of the box. Once again, you have to break MOC for that, and I think that's one of the few if you buy as a collector, you're going to keep MOC.
With that being mostly for a retro collector, I don't think they're going to take it out of the box. Now, if that was a modern type item, I think it would have, but I think that almost killed the GI Joe project. Honestly, I mean, just the scale of it, what it was.
They got lucky.
I think if that's the positive for them. So if they'd all been running at different times, they probably all would have got funded, right? So,
well, the Proton Pack, people were taking it out of the package. Sentinel, the Galactus, he's coming out. Rancor, had he got funded, people would have taken it out of the package because the resale is going to be there. Like I promise you right now, if you look on eBay, somebody is selling a Unicron on there that they have displayed out of package, and it's an ungodly price.
We have a few collectible stores here, and they have some in there for like $1,500, and they're out of the package.
But the Sky Striker is going to be one that if it comes out of the box, people are going to be like, "Yeah."
Well, and I think that I said if all three of these had been run separate times, they probably all would have got funded. Running them together, you had to make choices. People made choices, and I think what saved GI Joe is the fact they did run together with the Rancor as well as Proton. If it had been just Proton Pack and GI Joe, I think GI Joe still would have failed. But when the Rancor failed, all those people who were backing it said, "Okay, well, I was planning on backing something anyway, and I got the money, so let me go to my other property." Because then, as soon as people pulled out of Rancor the first time, the Proton Pack shot up, and then when they pulled out the second time, the final day when the Rancor wasn't moving and it actually had some decrease, GI Joe jumped 5 percentage points. It's like, okay, so those people went and spent the money there then, since they had already allocated some money. Like, I want to get something, so I'm going to go to the next one I want, which is now GI Joe if I've already got Proton or if I'm not doing the Proton Pack.
Let me ask you this, Monster. Do you feel like Hasbro will eat the humble pie? They need to wait 3 to 6 months and try the Rancor again with better tiers? Or do they go the route of the Marvel team and say, "No, you poked me in the eye, and now I'm saying fuck you"?
I think that you will see them. This is just my opinion, right? But I think that their next crowdfunding project will go back the way of the Vintage Collection, because they succeeded with Jabba's Barge, they succeeded with the Razor Crest. They saw Black Series didn't work for the Rancor. Now there was reasons why it didn't work. I don't know if they'll eat the reasons why and understand them. I think they'll just say, "Hey, we couldn't sell the black one, so we're going to go back to the vintage ones because we know we can get them funded."
And I hate that because I like the Black Series myself.
Oh, I would
love to see something Black Series scale. If they done a carbonation chamber Black Series,
that would be neat.
I would probably drop about $600 on that, honestly. But it would have to come with the right figures. I mean, you would have to have a Han in and out of carbonite, and they've already got a Han in and out of carbonites. I mean, you're not really. Those would be repaints I would accept.
That's
Which, don't be wrong, your Han would have to be coatless, the flap down. So you got a torso retooling is really all you have on Han. The Carbonite is just, hey, pull him out of the Amazon exclusive box. He's there.
Yeah.
Boba Fett and a Vader. Maybe the little guy, that worked the controls. I forget the name of what they are. They were in the Mandalorian. But those figures there, I'd probably drop about $600 on that. But it would come out of the box. I promise you. That will be displayed on like a kitchen table in the dining room.
So let me ask